This video is all about type 2 diabetes. If you're newly diagnosed or even have lived with it for some time, the goal here is to educate you on what it is and the proper diet, sugar readings, and lifestyle modifications you need to make an improvement in the quality of your life and overall health while living with this disability. Yes, diabetes is a disability and is protected under the American Disability Act because it substantially limits the endocrine system's function. By the end of this video, you will feel more confident on how and why to take better care of yourself.
Blessings to you all. I wanted to say thank you first and foremost. Thank you for all your continued support, your engagement in the comment box. I wouldn't be here. I can't do this without you. So all your comments and all your clicks on these videos and your continuation of coming back, it is very much appreciated. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. I can't do this without you. Thank you. If you're new to my channel, welcome. This is Living with Disability Healing. I'm Dr. Reverend Mariam from the Awakening of Phoenix, Living with Disability Healing LLC, and PhoenixHealingMinistries.org. Help with Life, Healing 101, Dinner, Time to Heal, A Cappella Awakening, and Timeless Spirituality. But most people just call me Phoenix. As you can see on the screen today, we're talking about diabetes type 2. 36.1 million Americans are diagnosed with this disease, this disorder. So, there's a lot to be covered. And this is part 1. So get comfy, grab a blankie, get a bottled water, and a notebook and pen. Because today I'm going to cover the basics. So if you're newly diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, this is going to help you tremendously. And it could be the curve that you need for your success. If you've been living with this for a while, consider this a refresh or even a restart for those struggling. For part 1, as I said, we'll be covering the basics. 1. What is diabetes type 2? 2. What is the difference between type 2 or type 1? 3. What are the risk factors? 4. How diabetes, much like hypertension, is a silent killer. 5. What are the signs and symptoms you need to look out for? And what are the signs and symptoms that may suggest you need to make an appointment with your doctor to see and test your blood to see if you have diabetes? 6. What are the most effective treatments? 7. How you can go into remission, because there's no cure, but you can go into remission and change your prognosis or outcome even without medication. 8. If you're newly diagnosed, this is extremely important. What is the goal blood sugar levels to reach daily and for your 3-month mark? Lifestyle changes are affected through proper diet. So I will explain to you the type of change you need and why. What does a diabetic diet even look like? And 10, as a bonus, I will show you an easy and delicious recipe that you can take and make other recipes with that will produce low glucose blood levels and help your sugar readings, help support your low blood sugar instead of giving you hyperglycemia or even hypoglycemia, low glycemia. It keeps you at a steady level and supports weight loss. It's low in calories, low in sugar and carbs, but also low in sodium. Since high blood pressure is something us as diabetics have to look out for. And I will show you as a bonus 3 easy exercises to do post-meal to do that you can be successful in your blood sugar readings, your goal blood sugar readings. Before we get started, please pay attention to this disclaimer. I have type 2 diabetes, so my intent is to share with you what is helping me and what I have learned through 25 years of nursing as I am retired. So please consult a doctor or a registered dietitian. I would say both. You can get a referral from your doctor for a registered dietitian or nutritionist for personalized nutrition plan, goal weight, and blood sugar levels, as needs can vary significantly based on individual health conditions, religious beliefs, and lifestyles. This is in no way, shape, or form a cure or a diagnosis, so please consult a doctor first. Now, let's get started. So, in order for me to explain to you what diabetes is, I want to go over 2 important terminologies, and that's insulin and glucose, glycogen and glucose, okay? Insulin, what is it? Because you'll be hearing a lot of this word, insulin resistance, and glucose. You're testing your blood glucose levels. And you hear that and you're like, well, what is it? I'm going to tell you. Insulin is a vital hormone. It's vital, okay? It's produced by the pancreas. It's a hormone that regulates blood sugar, glucose levels, that allowing cells to absorb glucose for energy or storage or fat storage. So you can kind of think of it like this. Insulin is like a key. Your cells is like a door. And you need energy to be able to lift your hand up and get that key and open the door so that you can put more energy in, to function. Okay, so it acts like a key to let glucose enter the cells, preventing high blood sugar, which can damage the body in so many ways. Without enough insulin, diabetes occurs. You know some of the damage. You can go blind because sugar rests behind your eyes. It rests in your fingers and your feet mostly. It builds up, it accumulates in those areas. You've heard of people losing limbs, lose a leg, lose a foot, lose a toe. Because high blood pressure, because of diabetes. Well, that's why. The key functions of insulin are, I'm going to tell you 4 key functions. It regulates blood sugar. When I say regulate, it lowers blood glucose levels after you've eaten something, after your dinner, after a meal. Energy production. And what I mean by that, it moves glucose into the muscles and fat cells for fuel so that you can have something to function during your day or for later. And which brings me to the 3rd one, storage. It promotes storage and excess glucose in the liver. And the 4th one is a biggie, metabolism. So it suppresses fat breakdown and assists in metabolic processes. So you think in metabolic processes, you think of losing weight or gaining weight. When you get a little older, this is very important for someone who is in that age for menopause, is going through menopause, because this lets you know that the metabolic process, metabolism, is affected with an insulin and diabetes. It just lets you know that it's not always just bad diet or a sedentary lifestyle or not being active. Sometimes you get diabetes because it's inherited. It's passed down through your bloodline. But sometimes you get it because of your age and things like menopause and how estrogen is affected in your body. And low estrogen affects your body's metabolic process. So this can cause diabetes as well. The second part is glucose. Glucose is a simple sugar. It's called C6H12O6. And it's the primary source of energy for your cells in your body, including the brain function. So if you don't have enough glucose, you can even have hallucinations. Yeah. But so glucose, it's derived from carbohydrates in the food. A lot of people think, oh, I have diabetes, I need to lose weight, I could have to completely cut carbs out. No, you still need that source of energy. It's in moderation is what you need to remember, but we'll go over that a little later. It's derived from carbohydrates in your food, and it circulates in the blood sugar, and is transported into your cells to produce energy. We have pancreas and insulin in your liver. Excess glucose is stored in the liver and in your muscles as glycogen for later use. Energy to function. So we're going to go over some key aspects of glucose here like I did for insulin. And there are about 5 key aspects that I want to share with you. And number 1 would be glucose is an energy source. Okay, it's the body's preferred fuel. And it's crucial, okay? It's extremely important for cell function and physical activity. If you're really, really weak, chances are you have hypoglycemia. You have low blood sugar levels. Okay, so you're not getting enough carbs. Your second aspect would be regulation, which I kind of went over. When blood sugar rises, the pancreas releases insulin, that hormone, or releases the hormone that allows cells to absorb the glucose. So, okay, the third aspect that you really need to understand is the source, which I just mentioned. It's found in your carbohydrates. Pasta, bread, fruits, and sugars. There's natural sugars, and then there's those table sugars. You want more natural sugars. And like I said, I'll go over some key aspects of diet and what a diabetic diet even looks like. But I just want to touch on things. So next, the 4th key aspect of glucose would be the health impact. Okay, consistently, high blood pressure could lead to pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, while too little can cause issues like brain fog, weakness, tremors, mood swings that are unexplainable. And the 5th one is storage, which I said, and I'll say it again so you can see how important this is, storage. If you're not immediately going to need it, glucose is converted into glycogen or fat. So if you have too much of this, you're going to gain weight. If you have too little, you're going to lose it. And it can be unexplained weight gain and unexplained weight loss. What are the terms for glucose blood sugar? It refers to the glucose levels in your bloodstream. So you get to prick it and see how much you got going on there, right? Glycogen is the stored form of glucose. If it's a stored form, it's now called glycogen. It's stored as glycogen or fat. So glucose monitoring. You want to measure sugar levels in the blood to manage your health, to manage how your body is processing. So history, taking a look at it and seeing what your past, present, later on the future looks like in your blood, helps you, your A1C, helps you see what you're doing and manage it properly and change that lifestyle. You have to give it time, because that's the main thing that you need to do, is change your lifestyle to be able to manage and support a better quality of life. So, what is diabetes? Diabetes, oh boy, it's a monster of a disease. Again, for medical advice, I suggest you consult a professional physician. But let's keep going with this, shall we? Diabetes is a chronic disease. It's not a condition, it's not a disorder, it's not a syndrome, it is a disease. And it is a disability and a metabolic disorder. So it's both. It's a disease and a metabolic disorder characterized by high blood sugar, hyperglycemia. It occurs when the body cannot produce enough insulin or use it properly, affecting how food is converted into energy. It's commonly referred to as a chronic condition that requires long-term management. Disease. It's characterized as a disease because it disrupts normal bodily functions. It's characterized as a disorder because it's a metabolic disorder. Your body's mechanism is disordered for handling glucose fails. It's not working. It is out of whack. It is so messed up, okay? The condition, it's called a condition because it's chronic. Because it's a lifelong state that affects our health, requiring lifestyle management. Not just change, but management. So there's type 1, which is autoimmune. Your body is literally attacking itself. And then type 2 is when you have insulin resistance. And then there's gestational, which is diabetes, which happens during pregnancy. The cause, it stems from either pancreas not making enough insulin, like I said, or the body's cells aren't responding to the insulin that it's produced. The impact is crazy. The lifestyle, the quality of your life is up and down always, especially if it's not managed properly. But also, if you're managed properly, it can still be up and down and lead to serious complications like kidney disease. You might have to go on dialysis because your means of excreting waste from your body is destroyed. Blindness, like I said earlier, you can lose the use of your eyes. And believe it or not, diabetes is one of the reasons why a lot of people get glaucoma. But also just because of the impact of sugar resting behind the eyes, nerve damage, and heart disease. Pre-diabetes, this occurs when blood sugar is higher than normal, but not yet high enough for a formal diagnosis. So let's get more into that, shall we? We're going to dive deeper into diabetes, and I'm going to explain to you what your risk factors are. Now that you understand insulin, you understand glucose, you understand hereditary, you understand metabolic issues and menopause and aging. But it's also a sedentary lifestyle. Okay, not being active enough, but there's a lot of reasons why people aren't active. Depression. Perhaps you have another disease. Your diabetes is either primary or secondary to another disease or condition. Like I have dysautonomia, I have POTS and vasovagal syncope. And it causes me to have extreme low energy. And my vasovagal syncope is chronic. I used to pass out 5 or 6 times a day. But I sought management with my electrophysiologist, my cardiologist, and got it down to 2 to 3 times a week. I have this call button here. If I pass out, they'll send an ambulance for me. I have security cameras in my house. My daughter sees me on the floor. She can call 911 for me as well. But these are precautions that you need to take. I'm going to tell you the risk factors. So I'm going to go over 5 risk factors. There may be more, but these are the ones that I know. Like I said earlier in the disclaimer, I'm a retired nurse, 25 years. So most of this is from memory. I'm just talking with you. This is what I remember. This is what I know from 25 years of nursing and experience. And for a very short time, I'm newly diagnosed with diabetes type 2. But it's a secondary condition to my dysautonomia. But it could be primary to dysautonomia as well. But 1, being overweight or obese. You gotta control your weight. We do this through exercise, through diet, which we'll go over later. So you're going to love what I have cooked up for you. It looks so gourmet. And it's so cheap. It won't break your wallet. But yes, overweight and obese, you've got to control that. That's a risk factor. That's one of the main risk factors. Age. Age is the risk factor. Most people don't realize it, but being 45 or older, although younger people are increasingly affected, it's prevalent in the younger people as well. Because in these younger generations, activity is not the most important. We have video games, TV, I hate to say it, but social media, and it keeps them on their butt. But so it also does that to the older adults as well. We're finding more and more that older people are gravitating towards that younger sedentary lifestyle. So which brings me to number 3, a lifestyle. Physical inactivity and unhealthy eating habits. The type of sugar, the type of carbs that you're ingesting, and you're not doing it in moderation. This causes the increased effect because your age and your metabolism slows down. Then you have weight gain. So the 4th one I want to talk to you about is that people don't understand this cannot be your fault. You can have the most perfect lifestyle, okay? You don't even look like somebody that would ever be diagnosed with diabetes. And you can have the symptoms of diabetes, and eventually, with the second diagnosis over at A1C, checking your blood sugar over 3 months, you come back for your second appointment and have the same problem, because it's not your diet, it's not your lifestyle, it's because you inherited it. So family history of diabetes, history of gestational diabetes, or having pre-diabetes is a risk factor. We're talking about risk factors. Not the cause, but the risk factors. So hereditary could be a cause as well. That is very important for people to know. And there's a shaming that comes with having diabetes. So don't be ashamed if you have had that sedentary lifestyle. This could be changed. Type 2 diabetes could be reversed. You can go into what they call remission. Type 1 diabetes, you can't do that. That's the difference. If you're type 2, lift up your spirit. That's something you can change. The final one, ethnicity. You have a higher risk if you're African American, Spanish, Latino, or Native American, or Alaskan Native. Now, this has a lot to do with culture. diet inside your culture, or stress, but not just because your skin color, but because of culture, lifestyle, religious ways. So it's higher again in African Americans, Spanish, Latino, or Native American, or Alaskan natives. Symptoms. There's lots of symptoms that present in the body that are very noticeable when you have type 2 diabetes. But the most common ones is what I'm going to talk to you about. And there are 7, okay? Increased thirst and hunger. No matter how much you drink, no matter how much you eat, your cells are not getting the energy. You have insulin resistance. So the key is not working properly to open that door, and it's flooding your bloodstream instead of going into your cells. You're going to be hungry. No matter how much you eat, you're going to want to eat more. A lot of times people sit there and they eat a lot of carbs, they eat a lot of rice. But they think the rice is making you eat more. But sometimes that's not the case. It's the fact that you have diabetes. And diabetes is kind of a silent killer, because a lot of these signs and symptoms present like other diseases or other issues or popular culture, pop culture type of thinking. You eat something sugary, your body's going to want to have more of it. You see kids eating candy all the time, and they can literally eat a whole bag of Halloween candy if you don't stop them. You eat one, you just can't stop. You guys know that brand. But this is really how it is. But also, it could be a hidden sign or symptom of diabetes type 2. Frequent urination. Again, if you have type 2 diabetes as a secondary or primary, this could be kind of iffy. A lot of people who get diagnosed with dysautonomia, any of the 15 dysautonomias, because of frequent urination, are actually diagnosed with diabetes. But it's also a common misdiagnosis, because of the frequent urination covers a whole slew of different conditions, diseases, and disorders and syndromes, UTI. Frequent urination is another symptom, particularly nighttime urination. But to tell, one of the ways that you can tell, it's not definitive, okay? But if you raise your head 45 degrees, and it slows down your nighttime urination, needing to use the bathroom at nighttime, and you don't have a lot of urination during the day, then more than likely it's something else other than diabetes. But if you're frequently urinating during the day and at nighttime, then more than likely this is diabetes. Again, seek counsel with a physician. Get a checkup and see what's going on with yourself. But 3, unexplained weight loss. A lot of people think, diabetes, weight gain, because one of the risk factors in obesity is, weight gain and obesity. But honestly, weight loss that is unexplained, you have not exercised, you don't know where your body fat is going. That is a symptom. But it also could be weight gain. So if you've had weight gain that you can't explain as to why you can't lose no matter what you do, it could be diabetes. Again, for the 4th symptom, this is a biggie, because again, It presents with many other diseases, disorders, conditions, and syndromes. But your cells are not getting the glucose, and they're not able to store the glycogen or the glucose or the fat for you to use as energy. So the fourth symptom is fatigue and tiredness. Now, I'm not talking about you worked all day and now you're just tired. I'm just saying, you go to sleep at night and you wake up and you feel like you didn't sleep at all. What the heck? You're looking at the time. There's no way I slept for 6 hours. There's no way I slept for 7 hours, 9 hours. You don't feel refreshed no matter how much rest you've gotten. It could be diabetes. And then we have the fifth one. Oh boy, blurred vision. Again, there's a lot of diseases, disorders, and syndromes and conditions that present with blurred vision. But if you're having all of these other symptoms along with the blurred vision, it's more than likely diabetes, slow healing sores, or frequent infections. That's number 6. Oh boy. You can get a nick and it won't heal, or it keeps opening up no matter what you do. You get sores in the genitalia and under your arm. You can't get it past a certain point of healing. You keep getting bladder infections. You're not just urinating frequently. You're presenting the signs of bladder infections or UTIs. Your whole urinary tract is infected. And this is a sign of prediabetes or diabetes. 7, and this will be the last symptom, just to kind of shorten up a little bit. This is the basics. The 7th symptom I wanted to talk to you about would be tingling or numbing in your hands or feet. That kind of goes along with the blurred vision, I mentioned earlier. That sugar in the body, the glucose, rests in certain parts of your body and accumulates in more parts than others. And it's in your toes, in your feet, it's in your hands, in your fingers. It's behind the eyes, where it accumulates. So if you get a tingling or numbness in your feet, that could be too much, or hands, that could be too much sugar being in your bloodstream. You're getting accumulated in those areas. But also, it could be sign of nerve damage. Because of the high amounts of sugar that's in your bloodstream, it's going to affect the autonomic nervous system. Again, dysautonomia. This could be a secondary or primary symptom of getting dysautonomia, which I'm going to make an explanation of dysautonomia in another video. But you can get neuropathy, nerve damage, and you get tingling in the feet and your fingers. High glucose levels impair circulation, the peripheral circulation and central circulation of the body, and its natural healing process. It impairs circulation. So that's another reason why you have that, those problems like that, the tingling and the recurrent infections as well is the reason why that takes place. But another common symptom that I forgot that I wanted to explain, because this is a biggie, I think, is darkened skin patches. Okay? Or velvety skin in the folds and neck and armpits can indicate insulin resistance. So now that you know the type of diet that you need to have and why, what those foods are actually doing, I'm going to give you some pro tips for eating, okay? That help you regulate your blood sugars, maintain a good healthy weight, and heart health. It also helps with your collagen production, all of these hormone balance. When you use 3 things, I'm going to teach you 3 things. There's all kinds of things that you can do, but these 3 things are prudent in someone's life who has been diagnosed with diabetes 2. Diabetes period. Okay, the plate method. 1, you fill half of your plate with non-starchy vegetables, half of it, and then a quarter with lean protein, and another quarter with whole grains. That's what it looks like. That creates a steady blood sugar. You have to stay consistent. Doing it once is not going to fix you. You have to stay consistent over a period of time. When you have carbs, you want to pair your carbs. This is number 2. Pair your carbs. Never eat a naked carb. Okay, just bread all by itself. Don't do it. Crackers with peanut butter, or pair it with fruit. Cheese to slow down sugar spikes. If you're going to have bread, toast it. Or choosing what type of bread you have. Look at the nutrition label. I like pita bread. I like flaxseed pita bread because it has low carbs, low sugar, minimal sodium. But a whole one, you can eat a whole one, and you can only eat 1 slice of bread. So be choosy on which type of bread that you eat. Triscuits. I love Triscuits. A little bit of hummus, tomato, and cucumber. Oh my gosh, it's such a great snack. Or just have those block cheeses with it. So good. I love the garlic or the rosemary flavored ones. The garden is really good too. And the third thing that you want to do, flavor with spices. Cinnamon, turmeric, ginger. And they have shown promise in naturally improving how our cells respond to insulin. So cinnamon, turmeric, and ginger. Okay? For individuals with type 2 diabetes, daily intake should focus on consistency. Again, consistency is the key word here. But what does that even look like when you're talking about how much carbs should you have? How much sodium should you have? How many calories should you be counting? Once you get started on a lifestyle that is consistent, you can throw out the counting. You won't need to count. You'll just have a different lifestyle, and these are the foods that you'll be eating. And you already know the combinations, but it takes practice and time, so be patient with yourself. So generally, this includes, for calories, you want 1,600 to 2,000 calories a day. Okay, so that's about 130 to 225 grams per meal. Or 45 to 60 grams per meal. Okay. And for sodium, you want to be under 2,300 milligrams of sodium. But again, okay, this is personalized. This plan depends on activity, weight, blood sugar goals, and this requires coordination with the dietitian, nutrition, or your physician. Okay? So, but these are just like basics. So what are the key daily nutritional goals? Like I said, your calories are 1,200 to 600 for women, 1,600 to 2,000 for men. Okay. Sodium, again, less than 2,300 milligrams per day. But your carbs are very important here when we're talking about diabetes. A common starting point is 30 to 45 grams per meal. So you're talking to up to 35 to 200 grams daily. And this depends on your activity level. So you want to focus on high fiber and complex carbs rather than simple sugars like candy bars. But if you have hypoglycemia, they tell you, eat some tarts, like some little candies like butterscotch or mint. Or those little tart candies that you can crunch real quick, or an orange or some orange juice. But you want to follow that up with some protein because that's only going to last for so long. But when you're focused on keeping it steady, and you're talking about consistency here, you're going to want, again, 135 grams to 200 grams, depending on your activity level. Sodium, you want to limit it to less than 2,300 milligrams a day to manage blood sugar and to manage blood pressure. But here's the thing. If you're already hypertensive, your doctor may prescribe you less than that. If you have vasovagal syncope or any of the dysautonomias, POTS, you're either going to be told to increase your sodium, right, and decrease your water, or increase your water and decrease your sodium. So again, you need to check with your doctor. I'm going to keep saying that. Please check with your doctor. This is not to diagnose, cure, or manage your condition. This is just teaching you what I know and through my experience through 25 years of nursing and how I decided to take care of myself. Newly diagnosed diabetes type 2. The main goals, across the board is for sodium, 2,300 milligrams a day. So your sugar, we all know that's one of the biggest things when it comes to diabetes. Sugar, added sugars. Keep added sugars to a minimum. Look on your nutrition labels because they spike blood glucose quickly. You want to focus on fiber. You want to aim for 3 grams per serving. It'll slow your glucose. When I say 3 grams per serving, we're talking about daily 25 to 30 grams of sugar a day. Now, once you start looking at nutrition labels and writing down how much your intake is, you're going to be surprised as to how much your lifestyle is truly affected by this. But let's move on. What is the goal? So adults with type 2 diabetes, non-pregnant, your target sugar goals are going to be, it's going to be pretty difficult at first if you look at it that way. But it really isn't, my friends. It's just a lifestyle change. You're fasting upon waking when you wake up. And you check your blood sugar, 70 to 90. You're going to wash your hands. You're going to prick your finger. You're going to put your blood on the strip. And then when you look at it, when you wake up, you want it to read 70 to 99. You're going to drink some water. You're going to get up and exercise. You're going to move around. You're going to stretch. You're going to shower. You're going to get dressed, start your day. And when you break your fast, and before you do, you're going to check your blood sugar. And before meals, you want it to read 80 to 130. That's the reading that you want. That's the goal. Again, you want to check with your nutritionist, your physician. Everyone with this situation is different. After meals. The goal with most people with type 2 diabetes after meals should be less than 180. If you are over 180, you are in serious danger zone. Danger zone. You're in trouble. You've taken in too much and your liver and pancreas cannot handle it. That sugar is not getting into your cells. It's staying into your blood. It's not going to get stored properly. It's going to start to settle behind your eyes, ears, your eyes, your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet. So you want to work on this consistently and steadily. But again, fasting 70 to 99, before meals 80 to 130, and after meals less than 180. The most important part about after meals is that you want to make sure that you're checking your blood sugar 1 to 2 hours, preferably 2 hours. You can check it at 1 hour and then check it again hour number 2 when you're first starting out to see where your levels are. But I guarantee you your blood sugar is going to be a little higher after 2 hours because it's had a chance to get into your bloodstream unless you've done the exercises I recommend. But if you exercise, like I just said, post-meal, then you probably could curve that. But for me, I check it 2 hours after my meals, after my post dinner or post lunch. 2 hours after is when I check it. But my bedtime 90 to 150, then I know that I'm in the safe zone. And this is not something that you really need to check every day, but again, depending on your situation, check with your physician. So when I go to my doctor's appointment and they're checking the 3-month tracking of the blood sugar, the little picture left in your blood, they call it A1C. The goal, generally, the American Diabetes Association suggests it's an A1C less than 7.1%, but that could be affected by your age. If you're older, a senior, it could be 6.5% or lower. But whatever disease process that you might have, dysautonomia, chronic fatigue syndrome, lupus, then, it might be different. So again, check with your doctor. But generally, you want your A1C to be less than 7%. I know A1C is 3 months, but if you're writing it down, you're keeping a good record for 3 months, you can see it yourself, your history, and you can manage it by knowing your trends and looking at what your body is doing by checking your blood sugar. So know your numbers. Know your blood pressure, pulse and respirations, and your glucose, because blood pressure is a good indication as well as to blood sugar problems or heart disease. There could be some damage to your organs. So checking your blood sugar, your blood pressure, pulse, and respiration. Know your numbers. All right. As promised, we're going to cook up something good here, my friends. And part 2, I want you to know that part 2, I'll be showing you what it looks like during a day with me with diabetes, because everyone's lifestyle is different, but we can learn from each other here. I got great reviews from my doctor, so I'm going to share it with all of you guys, what it's like, what I do on a daily basis living with type 2 diabetes as a secondary hereditary condition, disease, to other conditions, diseases, and syndromes that I live with: dysautonomia, post-traumatic stress disorder, I have general anxiety, autism, I have depression, my friends, vasovagal syncope, POTS. When I pass out, I literally have no energy at all. It totally zaps you. Your blood's not getting to your brain. You have hypotension. Your blood pressure just drops. Circulation problems are there already. You get pulling in the legs. And diabetes presents circulation problems. So sedentary lifestyle was really big for me for a while. After I got diagnosed with dysautonomia. But before then, I was one of those people who I exercised Jillian Michaels. I had a great body. I didn't have any of those problems until I had the heart surgery. AAA, and I was in the hospital for 6 months. But we will talk about that in part 2, and I will show you an entire day. You get to spend the day with me, checking your blood sugar, sodium, calories, and different meals that you can make and create, and snacks to make life easier, with some really awesome, easy, effective exercises and stress-reducing activities. Bless you all, and let's get started on this meal, my friends.
Yes, healthy can be this good. Hi everyone, it's Dr. Reverend Moriam, and this is Dinner Time to Heal. Are you looking to lose weight or manage diabetes? Well, today I'm going to show you how I made this easy recipe for a warm and cold salad with my homemade hummus and the most flavorful, tender, and juicy air fryer chicken. It's low in calories, low in sodium, and low in carbs, and will help stabilize blood sugar. It's easy, healthy, and delicious. My friends, it's decadent. Let's get started. We're going to start off with my homemade white bean hummus. Chickpeas are not the only way to make hummus. I love white northern beans. They come out so smooth and they hold flavor really well. I've tried so many hummus recipes, so I just couldn't find one that was simple enough for my lifestyle and one that I actually liked. Along with the store-bought brands, they were too lemony or sour or just lacking in flavor. So I came up up with my own. The secret to making white bean hummus is cooking the beans first. I start off with 1 can, rinsed well, and a half a can of water, and begin to season. Before blending the beans, we will add more seasoning. So all you need is a very small sprinkle, maybe about a 4 teaspoon each of salt, black pepper, onion and garlic powder. And it's important to use not the salt, but the powder. You want the powder. Also, thyme and cinnamon. I prefer Ceylon cinnamon for this. And then there's an optional half teaspoon of grade A maple syrup, not the kind you put on your pancakes. You cook on a medium to low heat covered for at least 10 minutes to soften them properly. I had found that a lot of recipes for hummus use a crazy amount of oil. I use tahini. If you don't use tahini sauce, it's basically just a bean dip. But I use tahini, and that has an incredible amount of healthy fat type of oil, but still adding more oil to it when blending and then putting more oil on top was just too much for me. And I live not just with diabetes, but heart disease. So I put in about a capful of olive oil into the water before boiling, and I find that it makes it extremely smooth and very flavorful without adding the extra oil and making it less healthy. After 10 minutes of boiling, let it sit for another 5 or 10 minutes to cool, and then put it into your blender. I let most of the water boil out, so I just added about a 1/4 cup of extra water to make it more smooth. You can use ice, but water works just fine. Trust me here. And then I'm going to take a fresh lemon and put 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. After that, I'm going to use this good healthy fat made of mostly sesame seeds called tahini. And I'm going to put in about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of tahini. And then another sprinkle. Remember, I said I'm going to add some more seasoning after. I'm going to put in another sprinkle of salt and pepper, and you can add more to taste later. And then we're going to add in some smoked paprika. I'm going to put in a 4th teaspoon of smoked paprika. But my friends, you can use sweet paprika. It works just as good. But I have on hand some smoked paprika that I'm about all out, so I'm just using it up. And then I'm going to put another 4th teaspoon of ground cumin powder. After that, we're going to go ahead and blend it up, put it in a container, and store it in the refrigerator. Now, when you put it in the container, the trick here to keep it longer in the refrigerator, this can last you about 4 days to a week if you properly store it. So to properly store it, and just don't put it into your Tupperware. Put some plastic wrap on top before you put your Tupperware top on. And I like these that kind of close in. They have like 4 sides to it. It really holds it airtight. I put it in the middle to the back of my refrigerator where it's the most coldest. Now, the next step is making this air fryer chicken, my friends. It is so tender, so juicy, so flavorful, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. I'm going to use 3 pieces of chicken breast for this recipe. Now, no chicken breast is the same. So I'm going to take this mallet here. I'm going to put some plastic wrap on my cutting board for food safety. And then I'm going to just whack it. I'm going to whack the heck out of this chicken breast until they're all about the same size. And making it flatter and beating it up this way really tenderizes the meat. And it just really helps the recipe come out just perfect. Once they're all around the same size, I'm going to use avocado oil. And I use avocado oil because it just works better inside the air fryer other than olive oil. But the avocado oil just seems to work better. You don't get too much burning on your food, and it cooks more evenly. But I just rub it in on both sides of each chicken breast. Next is the seasoning. My friends, I'm an old school cook here, so there are no same size pieces of chicken. So there's not going to be a recipe that I'm going to give you for this that's going to have the same amount of seasoning. So you have to learn how to feel out your food. Each can of beans doesn't have the same amount of beans. So feel it out. You have to learn how to feel. I'm old school here, Appalachian cooking. I'm going to sprinkle enough for the visual effect and to cover each side of the chicken of coarse kosher salt, black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, either Italian seasoning or parsley here, and some smoked paprika. And you want to do this to both sides. And you want the seasonings to be even on each piece of meat. The next step is putting the chicken in the air fryer. Now, what I didn't show you on these first 2 pieces of chicken breasts was that I put in a 4th cup of water on the bottom of my air fryer. My goodness, my friends, if you haven't tried this, you must. It makes a true difference on the juiciness and tenderness of your chicken and steak. Now, this is a new product, so I'm going to show off a little bit here. This is my new Chefman air fryer. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love it so much. What a difference in the healthiness of my food. Less oil, less cooking time. Absolutely flavorful. You don't have to put as much seasoning on your food because it truly brings out the flavor and the salts in your meats and your foods. But this is 8 quarts, so I could put a whole chicken in there, a small chicken if I wanted to. But wow, I love this. You have to check one out. You have to get one. And trust me, it makes a difference in your life. But it has all these settings. It's got defrost, bake, and air fryer. We're going to use the air fryer here. I make sure that it's at 400 degrees and it starts with 15 minutes. But it has this thing called shake. And you can either shake, like if you're using like potatoes or something like that. But we're using chicken, so I'm going to take some tongs for safety. I don't want to burn myself. And flip it over when it becomes 7 minutes and 15 seconds or something like that. 7 minutes and 20 seconds. But it lets like a little beep sound. And then you flip it over and you put it back in and cook it the rest of the way. And my friends, you're talking perfection here. We're talking juicy, flavorful, tender. Oh my gosh, the most delicious gourmet style, restaurant style food in your home. Quick, it's easy, it's healthy, it's delicious. Yes, it comes out super decadent. So yeah, again, what I didn't show you was putting in about a 4th cup of water on the bottom of the air fryer before putting the meat in. But honey, baby, the proof is in the pudding. Will you just look at this deliciousness right here? Look how juicy, look how even the color is on the outside. It's cooked thorough all the way. Get a food thermometer, okay, to make sure it's well done. And so you don't get any food poisoning. But my gosh, you're going to put it on a plate. You're going to put some foil on there, put some foil on that bad boy and let it sit. And the juices will continually cook and the foil will keep it warm while we do our next step. But I'm going to go ahead and make this 3rd piece. Once all your chicken is done, it's time to plate. I'm going to go ahead and carve this chicken into long way slices. I'm going to put it on my cutting board and slice it up. My goodness, my friends, will you just look at the juiciness coming out of this meat? I'm going to slice it long ways. And then once that's nice and sliced up evenly, I'm going to go ahead and you can make it as thin or as thick as you want these pieces. It's all a matter of preference. I'm going to get this nice, juicy, firm beef steak tomato. I'm going to give maybe 3 slices, 1 slice for each plate. And then I'm going to go ahead and begin to put all of my ingredients on this white plate because I like the color. It makes all the other colors pop. Because after putting on this hummus, you're just going to spread it on facing you. And then on the opposite direction of the hummus, we're going to put on long ways some arugula. It's fresh, it's crispy, it's a little peppery. It just adds to the flavor and the aroma of this deliciousness right here. And then once the arugula is on top of the hummus, you place on the chicken. And oh my gosh, you could just eat it just like this. I think this looks beautiful too, but we're making a cold, warm salad here. You can't have a salad without tomatoes. If you're allergic, don't put the tomatoes on there, but I like the tomatoes. I put just a little extra salt, a little extra pepper, and some dry parsley. You can use fresh if you like. It probably will make it look even more beautiful. My goodness. Easy, healthy, delicious. Yes, it's decadent. Yes, healthy can be this good. My friends, this is hormone balancing, weight stabilizing, blood sugar stabilizing, healthy, easy to make meal that your taste buds will thank you for and your heart will sing its praises and never forget. This is dinner time, and this is so healing. Easy, healthy, delicious, decadent. Here's to your health. As promised, these are 3 exercises you can do post-meal, and you want to do 100 each. Squats, you want to get as deep and low as you can, and don't do it fast, do it slowly. Second, march in place, but you want to march in place with intent. Bring those knees up as high as you can. Do in a squat position, punches in the air, and you want to give this as much force and intentfulness as you possibly can. 3 simple exercises that help you with the success of your low blood sugar readings and remission. Don't forget to subscribe to the Awakening of Phoenix Living with Disability Healing. This channel was created to empower those who feel and become unwanted after trauma, heal through spirituality, and improve the quality of their life while living with disability. I want to thank you all for your support. Our trademark is now registered. It is not just your spirituality that can define your journey. It is your journey that can define your spirituality.